Okay, here I am.
There we go.
Hey, sorry, I was in a meeting. Okay, how's everybody?
Good.
We're good. We're good. Thanks
Good.
for
Happy
joining us,
birthday,
Coach.
Brian.
Thank you.
Did you have a good day?
No,
Why?
it was fine, but I've been spending the last day and a half doing the hot water heater in our house that went out the morning of my
Brutal.
birthday. So, but we did went to the museum yesterday with the kids and with the IMAX and
Okay.
so we went out
Cool.
to dinner. So we did some fun things.
So
But
not all bad.
not all bad, but I am in the process, like in between these Zooms today, of like finishing up the water heater and the kids saying, "Dad, do we have water yet?" "No, leave me alone."
And the
Take
more
a
they
cold
ask, it's kind of like,
shower.
are we there yet? Are we there
Right.
yet?
Right. Yeah. So
Just leave it cold for another 2 days. They'll get used to it.
right. Yeah. It'll be
Right.
fun.
And then they'll really appreciate when it's not cold.
That's kind of the
No.
point. Is I'm going to go slow on it so they're more appreciative when it's actually back on.
I love it. I love it.
Well, I'm here just to muck things up, Coach, and they could run it a lot smoother without me. So, Corey, Brian, what do you got for Coach today?
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Okay. Well, Coach, let me just ask you about the guards. And I guess not really, because Jalen was saying it's a sort of a positionless offense. But can you talk about your offense this year and kind of what you're wanting to do with it this year, and kind of I know you're not wanting to give away secrets, but
Sure.
kind of your basic philosophy of the change this year.
Yeah. No, I don't think basic philosophies haven't changed. We just have a lot more versatility this year. We have a lot more players that can shoot the ball. We have a lot more length on the perimeter. And just, we have three right now. We have three really good point guards. Jalen is playing really well. Sela is playing really well. And Frida is also playing really well. So we're in a place now where we're going to have multiple people that can bring the ball up the floor, that can shoot, that can penetrate, create offense. We also recognize that there may be times this year where we don't have a full roster, whether that's, knock on wood, injury or COVID, so we have to be able to run offense that, if 3 of our 5 post players go out, for some reason, we got to still be able to run offense and play. And so I think being able to have people play a lot of different positions on the floor, is going to provide us that opportunity to have some steadiness, even if things do, kind of go up and down a little bit this year. But we're still playing really fast. We want to transition. Where a lot of people are rebounding the ball really well. Sela right now is our second leading rebounder in live action. And so she is doing really, so if we can have those guards rebounding like that, we can really push tempo and things like that.
Yeah, she kind of showed that in your overseas trip a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah, she's playing really, really well right now.
Yeah, so that perimeter area is where you lost people. Quinessa and Emma were 2 key rotational players. You lose both of them. Do you feel pretty good about that spot, though? I mean, with the way Sela's playing and with the talent of Frida and Aubrey, just can you talk about that perimeter position and kind of who's there?
Yeah, I just think I'm more comfortable and confident in our backcourt than I've ever been because of the depth that we have in that spot. Now, again, things can change, in the blink of an eye, but no, I mean, we're having a lot of different rotations. We've never played with multiple point guards on the floor at the same time. One, because Kennedy Leonard was so dominant, at that position for a long time. And so there was nobody that was really challenging that spot, when she was here. And then, and so this will be the first time that every single practice, Frida is with Jalen or Jalen is with Sela, or, one of them is on their own, but the other team always has 2 of them. And so we've been really working on how to navigate that. Aubrey is playing really well. Tay Jones was out for a little bit, but she's back and we're hoping that she'll be able to play this year. But we won't know that for a couple more weeks probably. But she's playing well. Kylie Blackston is shooting the ball really well. So Aubrey has been playing great. I mean, Aubrey is Aubrey, she's always going to fill a stat sheet with rebounds and points and deflections and things like that. So we're really pleased so far.
Hey, Coach, I had asked Jay about this, about what in the back of her mind, thinking about the pandemic and COVID as to, because of the way the season ended last year and it was so abrupt.
Yeah.
do you in the back of your mind wonder if we're going to get all the way through the season this year? And she said no. So that's good on her. She's thinking about what's next, practice, the next game and all of that.
Yeah.
But it appears that you have, and your staff is thinking about that to be proactive about it. It's made you think about different things, hasn't it, as a coach that you probably never would have thought of?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wouldn't say so I'm glad to hear that. Jalen's got a lot to think about. She's keeping a 4.0. She's got a lot going on to worry about. So I'm glad they're not thinking that way. As coaches, it's kind of like parents. You have to, even if you're not necessarily going to talk about it, you have to at least have thought about it. What happens if we only have 7 players at UCLA and USC? How do you play? You have to at least have put some thought into strategizing for those scenarios, because they very well could happen. What do you do if UCLA comes here and only has 7 players and we have a full roster? There's things that, you have to have put some thought into. And so I'm certainly hopeful, that we'll play every single game and be healthy and stay full strength and all that. But I also know that these are very uncertain times, and the last 8 months have been the most uncertain, in our lives for a lot of people. And so we just have to be ready for anything and everything. Our department has done an incredible job, of giving us the resources and opportunities to play safely and train safely. And so I feel as good as humanly possible about that. But yeah, we got to be prepared for anything that gets thrown at us, I think.
The men's schedule came out yesterday. I know the women's schedule is coming pretty soon. How much do you anticipate that? Because you have a pretty good idea. I mean, you know who you're going to play.
Yeah.
It's really just about dates and times, right?
Yeah. So I mean, ours should be out any day now. Where it will be released any day. But yeah, we'll play everyone twice, and everyone is hopeful that you don't have to go on the road 4 games in a row and things like that. So yeah, we'll just, it's exciting to get to play everybody. Sometimes there's not necessarily parity, in the schedule, when maybe we have to play the top 6 teams twice and the other people sort of neck and neck with us only have to play 2 of the top 6 teams twice. Something like that would not be necessarily fair, for one team. So this will create parity as long as the games get played.
So, Coach, you mentioned you got to be ready for every scenario. We've seen some football coaches that have had to miss games or practices because they've got COVID.
Yeah.
Do you have a backup plan if you're out? And I imagine if you're out, that might mean T is out as well. So do you have a backup plan for who would run the team if you're out?
Yeah, I mean, Shandrika would take that role. If T and I were both out, Shan would take that role. And Shan and Alex they're both completely competent. Also, non-coaching staff members for us this year, Jill Mahoney and Monica Armstrong, they're not allowed to coach the team, but they're allowed to be more present and active in practice this year. They're actually allowed to pass and rebound and things like that. So while they haven't coached at all, I would imagine if we're not allowed to, maybe they could fill in. I don't know, but yeah, certainly it would go to T and go to Shan, and we'd be in good hands because we've been together a really long time. Most of the things that I would call in a game or T would call in a game, Shan and Alex have seen us do that, for the last 5-6 years. So I feel really good about that we've been together so long.
And then I just have one more for you since we talked to Jalen. Can you talk about what you've seen from her in the first couple weeks of practice as far as, I know she went to Florida, I think, to work with Jameis Winston and that whole crew down there. And so she's got a lot of work in. So what have you seen out of her game this year?
Well, the biggest difference in Jalen on the court is she's shooting the ball really well. So we stat most everything, but we keep a cumulative stat sheet for all live segments, whether that's 3-on-3 live or full on 5-on-5 up and down live. And she's shooting over 50% from 3 right now, in all live segments, which she definitely didn't do last year. And so she's very confident, in all areas. I think she's always been pretty confident with the ball in her hand and being aggressive, being able to break down a defense. But right now I'm seeing confidence, shooting the ball from the 3-point line, which is huge. Jay has also spent a lot of time working on building relationships with her teammates and spending time with her teammates. Just last year, coming from such a different place, from the South and being a freshman and playing a lot. And there was a lot of new things being thrown at her as a freshman. And so I think she's really settled into being a leader, you know, for this ball club and setting the tone, setting the example for what a true competitor looks like day in and day out. You know, it's really fun this year because there's a lot more people that are kind of wired like her, and have kind of jumped on that train, you know, that example that she said of this is how we should be competing with each other. And everyone has kind of bought into that and kind of following her lead. So that's really fun as well. Mhm.
Like
Awesome.
Brian, good.
We're all good.
Corey, good.
Yeah. How's
Right.
family?